1, 2, 3, 4,
McGregor Mondays with Patty Bastard. You're watching the show. I didn't even know you were starting there.
You know what? I'm mysterious. Nope. I like to start. I like to start without people knowing that I'm starting.
In all walks of life, like in everything you do.
Not everything, but most things.
Okay.
Especially farting.
Farting.
I usually don't let people know. Anyway, hey everybody, welcome to the show. So the show we have planned for tonight is pretty unplanned.
It's as in not at all.
But you know that's okay because
no, those are the best ones.
You like our faces.
Yeah, we're actually just gonna sit here and stare dead directly into the camera.
No, I don't like looking at your faces though.
No.
And,
well, we don't have to.
My brain goes through the wires.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Your webcam.
Sam is computer psychic, like not actual psychic. He's telepathic, like through like he's like can be a ghost in electronics.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's how we broadcast the show. We don't have like broadcast software.
Yeah, camera's not even plugged in.
Yeah, no, Sam does it all with his computer ghost.
Oh, with my brain.
So there's spacenews.com isn't working right now. And I can't even guarantee my
breaking news, guys.
I couldn't even guarantee that there would be space news if I got to it. But
that's okay because I got something almost just as good, you know?
Okay.
Hey guys, This Week in Science. I'm just gonna literally read you the This Week in Science bulletin. That's some cool news. I don't care about that one. Hang on, let me read these first. Gross. Yeah.
I want to know what the gross one is.
No, it's not actually gross. Okay, so there's a lot going on, and I've read a little bit about some of these. We'll discuss them in our own words rather than looking them up for more information.
Okay.
First of all, dentists have apparently discovered a new tooth decay.
A new kind of tooth?
A new kind of tooth. A new tooth decay treatment that I believe... This one I am going to look up because I don't want to get it wrong, absolutely. But I believe they use electricity to reverse the need for cavities. London dentists developed pain-free filling that allows pain-free filling. Usually tooth decay is removed with a drill bit before the dentist fills cavity. However, the new treatment, called electrically accelerated and enhanced remineralization, speeds up the natural movement of calcium phosphate minerals into the damaged tooth. The two-step process first prepares the eroded enamel, then allows a small electric current to pass minerals into the site. So essentially, what they're saying is they have tooth decay, and instead of drilling the tooth decay out and then filling it with ceramic, what they do is inject you with electricity, and the tooth repairs itself by shipping more tooth matter into the decay area as to, I suppose, replace the tooth decay.
The first thing I think is that's pretty cool. And the second thing I think is couldn't you use this on stuff aside from teeth?
I don't know because I feel like it's about the calcium phosphate that allows the electricity to work.
And that's different than what other bones are made of.
Well, no, but other bones don't rot away.
But they break.
They break, but they repair themselves normally.
Okay.
They repair themselves fine.
But could you do it faster? Could you be like, oh, your bone's broke, and then it like speed up the process, and since they're already doing it themselves, it like heals your bone immediately?
I mean, I don't know, maybe.
Or what if you like have like a hole, like something that won't naturally repair itself? I have no idea. Or could you grow a bone where there would otherwise not be a bone?
That's not how it works.
Can you take a little piece of a tooth and stick it in your ass?
No.
And then have a tooth on your ass?
No, that's not how that works.
Okay.
That's absolutely not. Is that really what you got from that?
No, I'm just asking questions that I feel need to be asked.
In other news,
can you grow a tooth on your ass? Like
No.
Let's get
I mean, I guess so. But your genes and DNA would have to be sequenced such that, or cells, the mitochondrial DNA would have to be mutated such that it thinks that it's supposed to be growing a tooth. So you need to have a group of cells that all think they're growing a tooth rather than anus. Yeah. So then a tooth would grow in your anus.
Okay.
Essentially. So you have to have a whole group of cells.
I want to be able to chew up my suppositories. That's what this comes down to.
But Brian, that defeats the purpose. They're time release. Anyway, in other news, so NASA's been like, yeah, we'll put people on Mars in 2035. Then Elon Musk from SpaceX, that dude with the crazy ideas, came out and was like, you know what? You guys suck. I'm going to do it in 2023. I'm going to beat you by 12 years.
That's cool. Where is he from?
Sorry, 2026.
Who does he work for?
SpaceX.
Which is
the private space company.
Okay. So he's there.
Also technology company.
Competing with NASA, basically.
I mean, competing and working alongside. In this, they're competing.
Yeah. Against
NASA, yeah. So he wants to put people on Mars by 2026, which is a big feat. He has lots of crazy ideas. He had the idea for the Hyperloop, which was the ultra fast vacuum train or whatever from Los Angeles to San Francisco. That would take it would be like a 40-minute ride from Los Angeles to San Francisco. All the SpaceX stuff, that's all by him. He has a lot of other technologies and stuff like that. He's a big dude. He's a big philanthropist guy.
Yeah.
In other news, physicists have simulated time travel with photons. This one I'm also going to look at. But Brian, talk to us about time travel.
Well, time travel is really interesting. And when we're talking about it in terms of not like, oh, that was really good time travel for a movie, like that was Terminator level good time travel. When we're talking about it in terms of actual science, it gets rough because I know Stephen Hawking at least said it's basically impossible because of again, the more sci-fi-y stuff because of paradoxes and what have you. But also because of radiation feedback, where basically if you open up
we've talked about this before on the show.
A time portal, then radiation, just regular background radiation from the world will start drifting through, and that means it'll be in that same spot later, and it could create these radioactive feedback loops, and who the hell knows?
And explode the universe.
So basically, yeah,
there'll be too much matter in the universe.
Oh yeah, basically, there's a fixed amount of matter in the universe. But then again, if you talk about the universe is multidimensional, and if time is one of the dimensions, then the amount of matter in the universe is in every dimension is actually the amount of universe
in all time.
So it's
matter is constant because matter cannot be created nor destroyed.
No, I know, but it's basically the amount of matter is the same for everyone. So it's the amount of matter times every point in time.
No, because all the matter in the universe is the same no matter what time. Because matter in the universe is constant. Because matter can't be created or destroyed. So all the matter in the universe that has ever existed or ever will exist already exists.
That makes sense, but I'm saying maybe that's not how the fourth dimension works.
Fourth dimension in this case is time.
I know.
Which is a theoretical dimension.
Yeah.
So it sounds like what these guys did.
Yeah,
similar to that.
So let's just say Stephen Hawking didn't think time travel could work. He also doesn't think there's black holes anymore, and apparently astronomers are still. I've heard new things about black holes since then. So maybe Stephen Hawking, not everyone's listening to him.
Speaking of
new time travel thing. Go.
Speaking of black holes and quantum feedback, essentially it sounds like these guys did kind of that experiment that has to do with both of those things. So it sounds like what they did there is it sounds like what they did was they wanted to find out what would happen basically in the middle of a black hole, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, kind of. I'm going to paraphrase this in my own words because it's confusing, and this is a simple article anyway, so it's ultra confusing. Basically, it sounds like what they did is they used a photon to simulate a quantum particle. So a particle that goes through time. They used a photon because photons are really easy. You know, it's a photon. It's like we understand photons, essentially. Yeah. So what they did was, it sounds like they took a photon and no, hang on, I really don't know what they did.
They took a photon, they shoved it up their ass.
Yeah, pretty much. Explain it to me like I'm 5.
Hey, someone's got to explain photons to me really properly sometime, because I still have trouble with the light is a wave and a particle at the same time thing.
It behaves like a wave and a particle at the same time.
Okay.
It's not
so
a
photon is not a particle. It is light behaving like a particle.
No, it is a particle, I think, that behaves like a wave.
That's how it works. And is that how you manage to have a wave with no medium in space?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Hi, Freya.
Hey, little lady. Come up here.
So.
Yeah.
So essentially, so essentially what they did is they slowed down photon. They slowed down a photon. Essentially, they tried to simulate a black hole, simulate the effect of a black hole on a quantum particle, in this case a photon, by slowing down a photon to the point where it would be moving backwards, literally reversing time. Is what it sounds like they did to simulate what would happen if you went to the center of a black hole, where even time slows down.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what it seems they did, and it still may be a theoretical thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if they actually performed an experiment where a photon traveled back in time, but what it sounds like is essentially they did tests and stuff that allowed them to make a hypothesis that these photons, they could theoretically, I think, send a photon back in time so that it could meet itself. So, you know, trying to establish a way that time travel would actually work for real particles, which isn't necessarily going back and replacing itself, because that doesn't make any sense. Time itself doesn't move backwards. If you were in the black hole, you yourself would move backwards.
Yeah. And this is
but also forwards.
This is where I started having a lot of trouble with like theoretical quantum physics, is because it's like just theoretical physics in general. Is I'm like, how the hell do we know black holes? I guess it's all just through math, and I don't know math, and that's why I get dumb.
I think you know, it's theory that has built equations around the theory.
Yeah.
I mean, just like, you know, the theory of relativity or the theory of time. You know what I mean? Like, time is a standard now.
When you say, like, okay, how the hell would we know that time is gonna move backwards, or that time bends in a black hole? That seems like really like someone just thought that might have happened, and it kind of got put into practice.
I think that is kind of what happened. Okay. But it's based off of observation, essentially fact.
Okay.
It's based off of deep theories. You know what I mean? The same way gravity is based off of a theory.
It's theories built off theories built off theories.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're like,
but they're really good theories.
Yeah.
So it's like theoretically 90% sure.
Okay.
Anyway, so what I take this to mean is that if you were to send a photon back in time, it sounds like what they're saying is it would meet itself. But when you think about that, when it travels back in time to meet itself is also traveling forward and then starts to travel back in time. So that's where the feedback loop comes in, because since you're going back in time, it's not creating more matter necessarily, it's just piling up, step after step, all the different photons that are occurring at the same time in that span of entering the backwards time until it exits back.
It's not like you have 2 moments of that photon.
Right, you have infinite moments.
The infinite amount of moments that happen between those 2 measurable moments.
Between the time that it goes back in time and any other time before that it enters the point where time slows down.
Yeah.
Which is extremely complicated, and I don't totally understand that. And now Freya is my co-host. Right, Freya?
Yeah, I'm just flipping over my potato pancakes here.
So that's something, I guess, maybe. That is kind of interesting.
I got something I got to add to this.
Okay, wait till you're on screen, though.
Okay.
I'll just pet Freya in the meantime. Bill, look on the camera. No one can see your eyeballs.
Yeah, she comes up entirely pitch black except for her butthole.
Yeah, your butthole's nice and pink. Come here.
So yeah, I just remember this conversation I had with our was he a correspondent of somehow Mark Tang. What exactly was his position on the show? Was he
executive producer?
No, he was art culture correspondent. Art and culture correspondent. That one he actually was. Previous art and culture correspondent Mark Tang about a paper he was writing in philosophy about measuring discrete units of time in nature. And I remember this is just a little anecdote that has almost nothing to do with anything, but we really got into it over discrete units of time in nature, and his argument was like, there's gotta be, and it was like, no, there really doesn't. It was like, but like, how does that? Well, he was like, no, but think about it, that like, there's gotta be a like, if you have like just a point in time and a point in time, like that time needs to be divided in somewhere, that like this moment is discretely different than this moment, like far smaller than anything measurable. But he told me he built the whole paper on this idea. It's like, but there's absolutely no basis for that. Like, why would there be discrete units of time?
Because time is infinite.
Yeah, and it was like, I just couldn't get that. He was like, but there's gotta be discrete units of time. I was like, no.
I mean, there are discrete units of time. I mean, we've made them as small as we can possibly count them, which is essentially...
I mean, we have discrete measurements of time, but in nature...
I mean, that's the same as a unit.
I guess.
Our unit of time is the word we made up for, like, a second is, the period of oscillation for a cesium atom or whatever, or something, or for the outermost electron on a cesium atom is 1 second or something like that.
Yeah. But I'm saying you can say, like, you can quantify, this is, again, a photon. This is a piece of light. And this light has this many pieces of light. Like, you can quantify that. You can't, I'm way simplifying it, but you can't really quantify a piece of time.
No, because it's theoretical.
Yeah, it's infinite, and, it's like a line. It's
you can, however, create a unit for an infinitesimal.
Oh, yeah, and we do that.
You can say a billionth of an oscillation of the outermost electron.
Yeah, that wasn't what
is an incalculably small amount of time.
Yeah, but that wasn't what he was talking about. He was talking about in nature, in the world,
As if something moves at that speed?
As if
if
something is moving, let's say you've got a particle that's moving from here to here, there's some point at which it was here, and it was never in between those two places because no time elapsed between that. And that's just,
Yeah, I believe that exists.
You believe that there's such a thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If I go from here to here, there are an infinite number of a theoretically infinite number of places.
Yeah.
It's like a circle. It's like, imagine you have a circle.
Yeah.
If there's 360 degrees. Degrees is a unit of measurement.
Yeah.
Essentially, though, there's an infinite number of points on that circle.
Around that circle, yeah.
But really, if you think about it, and you take a pen, let's just say you take a pen, and you draw a circle, and then you zoom all the way into that circle until you're looking at the base atoms that make up the universe.
Yeah.
You're looking at quarks and gluons.
Yeah.
Eventually, it's going to be like 3 gluons wide. And then you get further into that. What makes up a gluon? I don't know. But you get further into that, and further into that, and further into that. At some point, though, it's going to become, the only reason we don't know what's in it.
You're talking about particles, though. The circle isn't a physical thing.
No, but it's the same idea with time. It's the same idea with time, because you're measuring time from here to here, right?
Yeah.
Like that amount of time. So here and then to here takes, like, 1 second. But if I were to go that's half a second. If I were to go like that, that's a quarter. You know what I mean? So it keeps getting smaller and smaller until my hand would be moving at such a speed that there is literally no time between here and here.
I don't think,
because there's always time between here and here.
But you see, that's the thing. That's thinking in terms of us measuring the universe. And the universe
yes,
isn't designed to be.
It's theoretical, but it's. I think in that case, in the similar to light as particle versus wave, you have to take time not as just a theory, but also as the idea that there is an infinite number of points in which something can exist, an infinite number of, let's say, positions, because when you think about it, that's what time is. But, you know, in this sort of situation, that's what time is.
Yeah.
So if you think about it as the infinite number of positions that exist between here and here, because it takes X amount of time to go from each of those positions.
Yeah.
Eventually, since it's an infinite amount of positions, it gets down to where my hand cannot occupy the same amount of space twice.
That's interesting.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And it takes, in our built world, some amount of time to get from the point where it occupies this space to the point where it literally occupies the next smallest amount of space.
So your hand has shifted. There's a 1 atom difference between here and
or
here.
even maybe even smaller than that. But
yeah,
whatever the smallest thing is.
Yeah. There's 1.
Yeah, it moves 1 atom to the right.
Yeah, it moves.
What is the amount of time?
It moves 1 ultimate particle. It moves 1 string to the right.
Exactly. So what is the amount of time that it takes to do that? And then imagine it going from here to here in that amount of time.
Yeah.
Essentially instantaneous.
Yeah. I gotcha.
So I think that's what he was saying. I assume. Though it was Mark Tang, so he could have been talking about like some kind of fish.
He was way too excited about it to explain it properly, I think.
In other news, which I'm just reading about right now, where am I? Nestle, the water company. Nestle, the corporation, the food corporation.
Largest food company on the planet.
Largest food company on the planet of Nestle water and various other things. Wants to started a program called Iron Man that further investigates how essential nutrients affect brain, body, and gastrointestinal function. The hope, which will take years to realize, is to develop a device that scans people's individual levels of nutrients and designs food around their needs, not unlike the replicators found in Star Trek.
Wow.
So essentially, reading a human's nutritional information, finding out exactly what they need, and then building food around that.
Because we're already getting into 3D printing food. That's the thing that's been discussed.
Like that episode of The Simpsons where they're at the Lego store and Homer builds the Lego ham apple.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
IKEA. They're at IKEA. Sorry, go on.
Now, people look at... I actually took a class on fabrication when I was in school. And I learned about 3D printers. I looked at some, and I talked to some people, and I dealt with a bunch of 3D printing stuff. So I get them. I get totally how 3D printers work. But they're, to a lot of people, and to me before I took that class, they're kind of just fucking magic, you know? People really don't get it. So there's a lot of discussion about 3D printing food, and I'm like, you need food. It's like, you need food to make it out of. Like, you're not making anything. You're just changing the shape of it. So you need, like, you can be like, you could 3D print ham. And it's like, yeah, but you need a block. Like, you take Spam, and then you make the Spam look like a piece of ham.
Yeah.
That's essentially what you're doing.
But
that's different. So I just might be thinking now. Wait, you take a crack at that. I gotta think for a second.
I think essentially what they're saying is breaking it down not into macronutrients but micronutrients. So macronutrients are things like fat, protein, iron, and things like that. Those are macronutrients. Micronutrients are the things that make up the food.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess.
Yep.
But maybe macronutrients are vitamins. I don't know. Essentially, breaking down the things that make up food. So everything's made of certain things. Protein's made from plants or animals or whatever, but it's all essentially made of proteins.
Yeah, basically, what we eat sugar.
Oh, macronutrients are fats and things like that. Yeah. Micronutrients are proteins, vitamins, minerals, I believe.
Okay.
And things like that. So essentially, taking those, and from those, I don't know what flavor comes from. I don't know if these guys are going to add flavor to their replicator, but essentially, which I imagine is how it happens in Star Trek too, is that they have matter that is food, food matter, nutritious matter, just gook, just blocks of vitamins and minerals and nutrients that are flavorless and purely chemical, right? And then they add junk to it. They shape it into a thing. And in Star Trek, it beams and appears like it's magical, and at the same time makes a plastic cup around Troy's hot chocolate. I don't know, but anyway, what that does is adds flavor and everything like that. Because you can still add, you can have a vanilla ice cream and add chocolate to it. Yeah. But it'd still be vanilla ice cream. You just add chocolate to it. You know what I mean? So I think that's what it's like. They're having essential nutrients and vitamins, and they're trying to. But what the trick is they're attempting to read a human's nutritional needs. Yeah. So take like a scan of the person's nutritional needs, and then build the food, which is build the exact need of food. So let's say I'm iron deficient. Let's say I eat everything except iron. They're going to give me a block of iron. Or let's see, I need calcium and B12. They're going to give me calcium and B12, probably mixed with some protein. And then
let's say I eat nothing but blocks of iron. They're going to give me food
that is everything but iron.
That doesn't have. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's kind of what they're saying.
That's a really cool idea.
Which is an interesting idea, and that is sort of the basis for the replicator, because the replicator is essentially like, let's get some food plasma, and let's send it through, and we can eat what we want, but we're really all eating the same food plasma, which has the essential vitamins and minerals that everybody needs. I think is what happened. So everybody's eating the same thing, but it tastes different. Which is kind of scary when you think about it. Yeah. Because it's like, I would like chicken, please, and you're not eating chicken. You're eating.
Well, think about
like food barf.
How does the replicator know what chicken tastes like? And maybe maybe it doesn't know, and that's why everything
tastes like chicken. Everything the human body needs tastes like a big bowl of snot. I don't know why that's the one scene I can quote the most.
Well, it's completely out of place in the movie. Part of it is like suddenly we're like in like Clark's in space. Yeah, it's really weird.
Anyway, so that's kind of cool. That thing. Right now, I'm going through the Futurology Reddit, which is pretty cool because it's essentially just news articles and different essays and things like that about us moving forward into the future. Ooh, David Sedaris has apparently written something about living the Fitbit life, which is this thing that's on my wrist. Living the Fitbit life. I'm going to read that later. Brian, how do you feel about self-driving cars?
I feel like Will Smith felt in iRobot. Where there's nothing wrong with them, essentially, but the idea of that being how everyone gets around, and it's another thing to become dependent on, and to be fucked when you're suddenly left without it, and to be terrified of anything that anyone's doing on themselves. It's true. That's the main thing about technology replacing kind of what we do is people, not even it replaces, like people will forget how to do, how to friggin' chop food with a knife because you have to use a food processor. Not that food processors have done, but you know what I'm talking about? It's the fear of the way that people did it perfectly fine for a really long time.
Yeah. It's the idea of convenience. I mean, it's essentially what convenience is.
Okay, perfect example. I am not a vegetarian. I have never. Now, I have killed things and then eaten them before, but it's not like I've never like cut the head off a chicken and like gutted it myself and all that stuff, I'm not gonna claim that like I've done that, but I'm like kind of at peace with that idea that like meat comes from an animal, you know, and kind of like I've thought through that and like I get that, you know, I don't look at it and pretend that it's not like a fucking dead piece of rotting animal carcass, you know. But there are people who do. There are people, if you like, hey, when that chicken was alive, they'll be like, whoa, and like they don't want to hear that. And like there's the people being disconnected from the mode of production is, I think, it's a problem. I couldn't tell you exactly why, but it can't be good. And so that's the thing. If my car drove itself, that would be awesome. I'd be like, yeah. But then the idea of that, you know, me not my car driving itself and me not being able to get myself somewhere in a car if I wanted to if something went wrong.
Yeah, sure.
It's kind of scary. It's just that, you know, I love new technology, and I'm more liberal than most about like things that shouldn't be done in science. You know, like a lot of people are like, oh, GMOs and human cloning and this and that. And they're like, clone people, fucking make my food out of plant. I don't give a fuck. But my one real thing that's like, this is morally, there's something off about it, is dependency on technology. That's the one thing that I kind of worry about. So I'm not against self-driving cars, but you know, let's just think.
Let's be aware.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about robots.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about robots.
Yeah. Is that how you feel about bears too?
No.
Oh, I forgot I have wax heating up. Oh, it's getting, my wax is melting.
I'm going to read the patent US 20060073976A1, which is a patent for the method of gravity distortion and time displacement. The abstract is this. See if you can understand any of this. A method for employing sinusoidal oscillations of electrical bombardment on the surface of one Kerr-type singularity in close proximity to a second Kerr-type singularity, in such a method to take advantage of the lens-Thirring effect to simulate the effect of two-point masses on nearly radial orbits in a 2+1 dimensional anti-de Sitter space, resulting in creation of circular time-like geodesics conforming to the band Stockholm under the Van de Broek modification of the Alcubierre geometry, permitting topology change from one space-like boundary to the other in accordance with Dirac theorem, which results in the method of the formation of Gödel-type geodesic complete spacetime envelopes complete with closed time-like curves.
You know, I kept with you for about the first third of that. I think the biggest problem is just bad sentence structure.
Yeah, it's a long one on sentence.
Oh yeah, hey, you can have these, by the way. Thank you. Eat them really fast. But
basically, what that means is someone has patented the method by which we take two singularities, throw a bunch of particles at them so that they get excited, and then they reflect against each other to create a geodesic sphere of influence, which through the change that occurs in space because of this reflection allows us to transport from one end of the space to the other.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
So when all that technology is invented, no one will be able to use it except for that guy?
Well, no, not this guy. I don't know who patented it. I think it's, let's see. Inventor, Marlon Pullman. The original assignee, Pullman Marlon B. That's him. I don't know who he works for, though. I think he's just patenting it like, this is my idea, guys. Like,
all right, just
to claim it as, just to coin it.
I
don't think he's saying, no, everybody can use it because it's scientific theory. But anyway,
I want to know what was it, Dirac theorem is? That sounds like something from friggin' Star Trek.
Dirac's theorem. Or perhaps Jaros's theorem.
We never would have been able to build the Argus array without Dirac's theorem.
That's true. Actually, they would have been able to build the Argus Array because the Argus Array is a telescope.
Okay. They certainly would have been able to get it there without Jirok.
That's true. Thanks, Jirok. Yeah, sounds like a Klingon name. Brian, if you
maybe I was thinking it could be a Kryptonian name, but
Jirok.
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 Yeah. But sorry, what were we gonna ask?
If you were a Klingon, what would your name be? Let me give you some examples.
I could be just Fart. It would be spelled a little bit different.
Martok. Worf. Moog.
Yeah, I think Fart would work.
Kalis.
I think Fart could be a Klingon name.
Fart might be a Klingon name.
Fart. It would have like 2 A's or something. But
Fart.
Fart.
No, it'd be F-A''ART.
Yeah.
Fart.
Fart.
Like Bolana. Belana Torres is B''Elana.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I didn't like?
What?
Worf's son is named Alexander, which is an Earth name.
Yeah?
Because named, I believe, I don't know if he was named by or if he was influenced, Worf, whatever. His name is Alexander Rushenko, because he was raised not by Worf, but by Worf's parents.
Adopted parents.
Adopted parents, who are from Russia.
Yeah.
His name is Alexander Rushenko. What's it going to be like in 30 years when he grows up and he's got to go back to Kronos and be like, hey, I'm Alexander Rushenko.
He's going to get made fun of.
Son of Worf. Whereas Worf is Worf, son of Moog, son of Worf.
And he still gets shit.
Exactly. Like, what's going to happen to freaking just like a life of utter destitution on Kronos if he ever wants to go back there?
Yeah.
Like, he's banished from Kronos before he even steps foot there.
Worf's story, like, is he Klingon or what storyline?
Worf is Klingon.
I mean, he's Klingon, but, like, his whole, difficulty with going back and integrating with Klingons. And he has to go to war, and they give him shit.
Well, because his father was disgraced.
Yeah.
That's the thing. His father was disgraced. So Worf, and then his father was disgraced and died, I think. And...
You want to know why?
No. And thank you. And so he went to Earth or something like that, and then he comes back, but his father's in disgrace. So then Worf has to go prove his father's disgrace.
That's one of my favorite, like, kind of storylines in all of TNG, because I think it, it's a show that deals with moral conundrums, basically. And everything is paralleled on, could be paralleled in our own life. But I think it's really cool just about, like, cultural ownership of children of immigrants and stuff like that. Makes me think a lot about that shit.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool.
The Worf on Kronos storylines are definitely some of the best.
They're awesome.
They're definitely some of the best in both TNG and in Deep Space Nine.
Because it's TNG where he is there's the Klingon Civil War and he has to go fight. Right?
I think so. It's not that I don't think he has to go. Yeah, I mean essentially.
He goes to war.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure that's then.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one. Is that the one with Darmok? I think Darmok is the dude with the giant eyes, the huge eye guy that turns out to be the cool guy. That's after the other Klingon tries to usurp the throne, and then I think Darmok.
He looks like this.
Yeah, he goes. I think. Oh no, Darmok is what I'm remembering from Darmok and Jalad Tanagra. That's what I'm thinking of.
I was about to say.
Darmok and Jalad Tanagra.
The episode was called Darmok, right?
It was called, Darmok and Jalad Tanagra, I think.
It was called Tanagra. I can't remember.
Anyway, whatever, it doesn't matter. Worf is cool. It's all pretty sweet. I want to speak about a idea I'm having. I'm writing a thing right now about a planet where I'm trying to figure out how this would work. But basically, there's a planet of people, and they live for thousands of years and advance their civilization.
Yeah.
but due to a limit of natural resources, can only advance their civilization so far before it starts to deteriorate, as any civilization would when running out of natural resources, mainly power sources.
Yeah.
So what they decide to do is build a community at the North Pole of this planet to harness the infinite power of solar radiation and magnetic radiation.
The magnetic field of the planet.
Yeah, flowing into the planet at the North Pole.
But would it be at the North Pole or at the magnetic north?
I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Because
in this case, it's the same
north
thing.
moves.
It's not Earth. In this case, it's the same thing. Doesn't matter. It's fictional. So they build this place, and then with the infinite amount of stuff, they're able to start building a city there, and then everybody starts moving up there because they're like, this place is freaking awesome, like infinite power, and they start building a city there, and it becomes this really big city of like 2 billion people. Everybody on this planet lives in the North Pole, in the city. So in the city, because of the rapid adoption of this new energy type, they're able to advance civilization very quickly. Because they've had all these ideas, they weren't dumb, they just weren't able to do all they wanted to do. So science moves really fast. They move really quickly into robotics and microprocessors and all these things. They get really, really far. And because of that, paired with, which I haven't totally figured out the backstory of this yet, but this sort of techno-theological, or what was I calling it? Theotechnological enlightenment. So the speeding up of technology causes them to rethink their religion because they, as religion works, they're trusting so greatly in what they believe in, which at the moment is technology because it knows so quickly. So there's this theotechnological revolution, and they start to focus on the way technology can better life in a very spiritual manner, not just in a matter of lifestyle and convenience. So, while all that's happening, they're building this really big city, and the city itself, the people in the city, because of the massive increase in robotics and things like that, people from the working class is greatly decreased, but because of the infinite amount of energy and the ease at which they can harness it for however that is, people aren't as worried about the money for that because it's so plentiful. So economic classes start to deteriorate, except for because of this theotechnological revolution and people's increased spirituality in their actual lifestyle rather than in some theistic lifestyle. They start to not care so much about the class divisions and start to be able to focus more on lifestyle as the religion. So technology and lifestyle as a religion. So as that grows, the middle class grows, the artisanal class, the artisan class grows because they get to focus on their lives more. And at that point, as the city grows, people actually get to choose. People, rather than being separated by economy or by race or anything like that, people are separated by how they choose to act. Because anyone has sort of the freedom to act as they would. This is similar to the Star Trek economy, the Federation economy, which on Earth they don't have money anymore. So it's similar to that sort of thing, where people can sort of choose the level on which they exist. And you have the middle tier of the city, which is getting dark and stuff like that. And, it's like a futuristic city. You have the upper tier, which is all rich people living rich people lives. And then you have the middle tier people, which is all the artisans and people that own buildings and sort of businesses and things like that. And then you have below that, which maybe not physically, but also physically, the sort of nomads of the city. Which when you think about this, it's microcosmic. It's a planetary microcosm in this entire city. So you have the nomads that exist as the culture's sort of like bravest and most adventurous people, not merely as bums.
Yeah.
So they travel around the city and, like, you know, go where the wind takes them and do all these different things. But these people are separating themselves in class purely based on
their behavior.
Their not even their behavior, but the way they choose to behave.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think?
I think that what you just put could be a good backdrop for a story.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay, because then you need a story.
That is one planet.
Yeah.
Amongst many.
This is going to be in Universal Jack.
Yeah. This planet is going to be the planet in the first episode. Because the planet is so cool and stuff like that, it becomes a haven for criminals because the sort of looseness of the society means that criminals can come there and not have to worry about, like, I mean, there's still authority there and there's galactic police and stuff like that, but they have to worry less about being reported or getting in each other's ways because the city's so big. And so it's this hot spot for tourism just because it's like this literal utopia. And just because of the way it all functions, it's a utopia for anyone that goes there, because tourists aren't just tourists there; they become a part of the moving society, moving culture, and everything like that. So that's what that is. It's this hot spot for criminals because they don't have to be criminals there. So it's like they can, like, take a break from being a criminal. It's like criminal vacation. What do you think? So anyway, that's pretty much our show tonight, guys. We don't really have a lot else to talk about.
Yeah.
Watch some soccer because it's pretty fun.
Yep. America, did we beat Portugal last night? No, we tied.
We tied 2-2.
So what does that mean?
Portugal, either we have to beat Germany or tie. I think we have to beat Germany or tie with Germany, and then we have to, and then Ghana has to.
I thought Ghana was out.
No. And then Ghana has to, if Ghana ties with Portugal, then we're through. Portugal's less than Ghana.
Okay.
But I'm hoping for Ghana wins and U.S. wins tomorrow. And then Ghana and Germany go to the tiebreaker, which I don't know who would win, but we can figure it out, kind of. Because the tiebreaker is whoever has the most point differences from their games.
Okay.
So whoever has the greatest number of point difference in their games which wins the tiebreaker. I'm going for U.S. and Ghana. I don't want Germany to win. I want Germany to get kicked out.
You want U.S. and Ghana in the cup?
Well, just somewhere in there.
Okay.
I'm going for U.S., Ghana, Mexico, South Korea.
Okay.
Because they're all underdogs. I'm all about the underdogs. Well, Mexico's not really an underdog, but kind of an underdog. Anyway, Brian is literally falling asleep right now.
I'm not.
I
just sit like this because I'm lazy.
That's pretty much the same thing when it comes to you, Brian. Anyway, thanks for watching the show, guys. Have a good night. Maybe tune in next week, and maybe we'll show you some more of our amazing bodies.